It's Saturday morning and it's another very cold start. In fact, it's so cold I'm not hanging out of the window. No way, man. But yeah, very, very cold. It's saying that it's -5, which for London is pretty chilly. And as you can see, the sun hasn't quite come up yet. But there's this lovely sort of pinky, golden glow. And it's looking very misty and frosty. The rooftops are pretty frosty. Let me see if I can brighten it up a little bit. You can see the plants are frosty. The flat roof below is covered in frost. Yeah. So I think I'm going to make us some porridge. I've just been posting a photo because, as you know, I'm obsessed with weather, especially extreme weather. I mean, to many of you this isn't extreme at all, but to us it's pretty cold. It really is. London doesn't get this cold and frosty that often. Unlike places up north that get this on a regular basis throughout winter. Paul was meant to be going to a work party today down at the plot, but they cancelled it because the ground is too cold and the weather is simply too cold. I'm thinking of suggesting to Paul that we have porridge, birds, that we have our porridge and then perhaps go for a bracing walk. Yeah, so it's cold. It's very cold. In fact, let's have a look at the temperature on the temperature gauge. We are going to have some porridge. I've just spoken to Paul. And then we're going to go for a little walk down the canal just to sort of refresh us and, have that nice shock of the cold. And then we'll get back and then we need to film Sunday chat. Yeah, so let's have a look at the temperatures. So it's 13 degrees inside. It's very dry, 46% humidity and -4.8. So yeah, so that's pretty cold. It's pretty cold for us. Yeah, and it's sort of been a few nights now of cold conditions. And we have had some ice on the inside of the window, and I think I mentioned it the other day in a post. It's the north-facing window, which is the top of the stairs. Yeah, which, doesn't get any sun really. I think I said before. It's just one of those things, isn't it? We can't really afford to heat the house throughout the night. Although yesterday we did spend quite a lot of money because it was very cold. So we had electric heaters on, we had the gas heating on, not all day, but for a significant proportion of extra time, other than the timer settings, because we had to. It was so cold, so cold. I mean, what do they say? Heat your house to 18 degrees. That's an impossibility in winter for us. It's not going to happen. Heat the person, not the home. That's ridiculous. You've got to heat your home. Otherwise it will have issues. Yeah. But we'd never get to the dizzy heights of that unless the prices dropped dramatically to where they used to be, and we could afford to put the heating on all day and turn it up. So yeah, we just can't do that. Can't risk it, really. We would get through all our reserves very, very quickly if we did that. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to make some porridge using the microwave. And then we're going to go out for a little walk down the canal, see what it's like down there, and get some fresh air, and yeah, get woken up and ready to film Sunday Chat. I'll see you later. Whew. We just got in from our walk. Boy, it's cold out there. It really is. But the sun is absolutely glorious. So the walk was really enjoyable. It was good to get out, to be honest. I've not had a walk for what feels like weeks, a proper walk, you know. Oh, way up. A notification, probably from Amazon. So it was really good to get out. It was fairly busy, quite a few people out and about, taking their exercise, walking, running, cycling, walking their dogs, you know, all of that. The canal is so popular for that. It really is. And, you know, aren't we lucky to have that on the doorstep? We really are. So what was that? What else was I going to mention? Oh, yeah. I mentioned about our friends. Oh, Paul's bringing me a coffee. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. We mentioned about our friends who were over, well, our friend over from Canada, our friend's sister. She was due to go back, but hasn't because she's got a cold. So en route to our walk, Paul dropped some miso paste down at the house so she can have a hot drink, a hot, nutritious drink, because her sister was going to go into town to pick some up and knocked to see whether we had any. So of course we did, so that's been sent down there. So we did that en route to the canal. So yeah, good deed for the day. We hope she's okay, hope she's starting to feel better. I know there are some nasty colds going around at the moment and flu. And I know from the news that our hospitals are struggling with people who have got flu. So that's worrying news. Thank goodness we both had our vaccinations, but we're going to try and just keep our distance from people. And that was the point that I was making. I remember when we were walking during lockdown and how we were really careful to keep our distance from people. And you know, this was brought into focus a few weeks ago for me because I met a neighbour in the morning when I was walking to work. And I was talking to them and the morning sun was sort of hitting their face. And in the sunlight, I could see this spray of droplets in the air from simply talking. So, you know, that 2-meter rule was there for a reason. So, you know, when you're out and about at this time of year, I think it is a good idea to keep your distance because a lot of these viruses are carried in water droplets from the breath, you know, especially things like norovirus, you know. So one has to be careful at this time of year. Anyhow, I'm just waffling now. Here's some footage from this morning's walk. You may have seen a little bit already on Instagram and photos on social media, but here's some footage from the walk. So we're out for a walk on this very frosty morning. It's very cold, it's about -3, but very beautiful. Everything is covered in a layer of frost. ground is hard. As you can see, the mist is coming off the canal. There's been quite a few people jogging, cycling, walking. A bit too peoply for me, to be honest. But gosh, it's so cold. You can see all the frost glinting off that, isn't it beautiful? Of course, the good thing about this time of year when it's frozen is the paths are solid, so they're not muddy, which is great. That's the underground bridge. Well, it's not underground, obviously, it's overground. It's the Piccadilly line. It's amazing how the cover of the woodland causes the frost not to settle as much, and then it's out into the exposed parts and it's covered again. Beautiful. We've just spotted a couple of goldfinches. I don't know whether you can see them eating the seeds of these, are they teasel?
Teasel.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show that the wildlife like things to be left. so they can enjoy them. Gosh, it's very beautiful this morning. Along the yellow brick road.
Old of those trees, aren't they?
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
There's pines here as well.
I hope you enjoyed that. It was certainly a sparklingly frosty morning. Absolutely delightful. I love that. And I love walking in frosty weather. It's so pretty and magical to me. So that's it for this morning. I'll see you later. It's a foggy morning. Freezing fog. But very atmospheric. Morning, it's Monday morning. I'm just getting ready to go to work. It was a lot warmer in comparison last night. There was no condensation on the windows. And this morning we have a little bit of sunshine. I think it's around 3 degrees outside and about 12 degrees inside. So, yeah, just thought I'd check in and say hi. I'll show you the garden. Yeah, it's looking a little brighter this morning. There's been quite a few pigeons in the garden and cats. I've been throwing quite a bit of seed out recently with the frozen ground, but there's no frost this morning, which is good. I better get myself together, put my coat on. Coat, gloves, I've got my hat on. I'll see you later. Monday. Bloody Monday. Hat hair. Because it's feeling bitterly cold out there tonight. Not as cold as it was, but it's feeling bitter. There's a little bit more breeze, I think. But we are due to get warmer weather, so fingers crossed. So, Monday. Let me have a sip of my tea before I begin, because I'm feeling a little bit dry. Oh, that's better. I need that. I need the caffeine to perk me up and the moisture. Yeah. Now, Monday the 13th, we're at that point where people have well and truly forgotten the holiday period. And whilst I'm glad about that we've moved forward and got through that and it's all behind us now, it means that people have settled back into normality and started to deal with stuff in terms of social care and health. And it's been very noticeable. Now, I could say Well, it's a full moon today, which it is. But of course, there is no scientific link between people's behaviour and the full moon, although we who work in the care sector know all too well that around the time of the full moon, things get a little bit crazy. And things have been crazy today. Yeah, I feel as though I've been through the ringer, as they say. Literally, actually, all of the things that you don't really want to have to deal with have happened today. Without being too mean to people, I've had several people phone me who I simply couldn't understand. I had an issue first thing this morning with a member of staff who'd called in sick, who needed some appointments cancelling. I had no method of getting hold of the other colleague that they were meant to be meeting. That posed a problem. It then took 4 of us, 4 admin staff, to sort out a cancellation of an appointment. Pardon me. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the details why, but it took 4 of us to do it. Shouldn't have taken 4 people to do it, but it did. I had the police call at one point, needing to speak with a social worker. I had the police turn up at a second point in the day. I knew what that was about. I knew the case, so I was able to point them in the right direction straight away. And there were 3 of them. It was clearly a serious issue. I had several other things happen, and very often sort of 3 or 4 things happening at the same time, all equally as urgent. Yeah, just people phoning up requesting letters for things like renewal of freedom passes and blue badges. Just everything today. Absolutely everything. I have been glued to 2 computers all day, and the phone has just not stopped ringing. So yeah, it's been a real bloody challenge. But of course, you deal with it and you work as hard as you can to get through all the emails and all the pieces of work that have got to be done. I've actually got 3 outstanding pieces of work. I thought I just haven't, I'm not staying late. I just can't manage those 3 final pieces, so I left them. And it's okay. But yeah, yeah, I feel not exhausted, but pushed by it all today, and grateful that I don't work full time. Yeah. So there you go. That's my day. It was a challenge. Yeah, that's it. I don't think I've got anything else to say. I'm going to enjoy my tea and then get changed and relax. Try and see the full moon, but it's cloudy. So I don't think that's going to happen unless it peeps through the cloud, which can be quite interesting to look at, interesting to photograph. So yeah, I might see you again today. I might not. Bye for now. It's Tuesday morning and the moon is out. It looks tiny, doesn't it? It's full moon. Let's zoom in a bit. That's as much as I can zoom in. There we are, full moon. And this is the view the other way. It's coming up to 7. We're having a little bit of a glow in the distance, which is rather lovely. Morning, it's Thursday morning. It's about 8:30. And of course it's my day off, which is wonderful. More about work in a moment. Bit of a sore point this week. So rewind to Tuesday. So I think I showed the moon on Tuesday morning. Was that Tuesday? I can't remember. You will have seen that by now anyway and know which day it is. Both Monday and Tuesday were incredibly busy at work. Just full on, completely full on. And yeah, Tuesday evening, I didn't vlog because I got in, had a little tidy round. Then I had to cook dinner because Paul was on his way back from For Earth's Sake. So that was, Tuesday evening. I made a chili, which was delicious, with couscous. Then yesterday, Wednesday, I worked in the morning as usual. Yeah, and Wednesday mornings are normally fairly busy for me because I'm sort of trying to tie up stuff in time for 12:30 when I finish. So I'm normally sort of getting stuff done and, trying to keep on top of stuff. And I don't know what time it was, but it was about, I think, 11:30 when I saw a call coming in from my boss saying, urgent meeting now with the admin staff. I thought, oh God, what's this, See, when you see the word urgent meeting, you're on alert. So immediately you're feeling a bit tense about it. And I obviously can't go into too much detail about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because frankly, I just don't care anymore. Basically, the upshot of this meeting was that there is a department that is clearly struggling to deal with its workload. This is a department kind of unconnected to who I work for, but the same company. And basically, the powers that be have decreed that other people, other administrators, are to step in and help out by being allocated pieces of work to do for this other department. I was quite quick to point out, well, I'm not an administrator, I'm a receptionist and I'm paid on a lower grade than administrators. So why are you telling me about this? I already have a full workload. I only work 2.5 days a week. How am I supposed to do other work for another department whose processes and procedures I have absolutely no idea about and would need to be trained and would need to build up my abilities over time? I'm 57 years of age. I don't like learning new things, really. I was very annoyed about this, very annoyed. Then to be told that the details weren't clear yet and we didn't know what form this was going to take. So why even bother telling us at the moment if you don't know what it looks like or how it's going to happen? So, yeah, narked, annoyed, stressed. Both me and my other colleague, we said, this makes us feel a little bit sick and stressed, knowing that we're going to have to do more work, potentially. And I've sort of reflected on this, and basically my answer is thanks for the offer, but no thanks. No, I ain't going to do any extra work. I'm not going to do it. I don't have capacity to do it. And I certainly am not paid enough to do admin work. I already do admin work to help out, but really I can't do any more. So that was Wednesday morning. Very annoying, quite stressful to be told this, to be dictated to in this way. Yeah, no. I mean, this is part and parcel of what is happening in the UK at the moment. Services, things are crumbling across the board. Local authorities are struggling to cope with demand and with lack of funding. The NHS is on its knees again this winter because it can't cope. People are dying in corridors because they can't get them onto wards. It's in the news. Yeah, and local authorities are struggling now, struggling to stay on top of the amount of work that's going on. And frankly, yeah, part of it, I think, is their own fault for cutting so many people, so many posts, and deciding not to recruit, not to fill those missing posts. And a lot of those posts are administrators. I mean, we were told a couple of years ago now that they were going to cut all the admin staff because social workers could do their own admin. That hasn't happened because social workers can't do their own admin all the time. They can do a small amount, but they would go into backlog very, very quickly if they didn't have the support of people like me and my colleagues. So if we're made to do other work, then our work will go into backlog and we'll be in the same position as this other department is. So who's going to help us out? I'm dumbfounded by it. Yeah, I think it's a really poor decision to make. And I think it's a poor decision, and I'll tell you why. It's not necessarily the work, it's the way they've gone about it. It's almost like they have dictated what will happen, rather than saying to the workforce, look, we're in trouble here, we need help, this department needs help, can we have some volunteers? And see how that goes first, because appealing to people to help, you learn when I was training customer services, you talk about the perspectives of customer and the person that's dealing with them. And very often, if you're a customer, if you say to somebody, can you help me with something? The part of human nature that wants to help others steps in. So that's very often a good way of complaining, to ask for help. So the company could have done that first. Ask for help from your workforce, from your loyal workforce that you supposedly value so much. Ask for help. But no, that hasn't happened. So that immediately gets people's backs up. And also, what also happens is the threat of a larger workload stresses people out very much. You know, it hits people at their core. So dealing with it in this manner causes a reaction from people, from staff, a negative reaction, not a positive reaction. So they've gone about it in a really poor way, in a real sort of, with a private sector attitude. Yeah, because that's what private sector would do. They'd just say, this is what's happening. Tough. Public sector are supposed to value their employees and deal with them with respect, because that's what we're expected to do with each other. This method that has been used does not employ that technique, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, there you go. So that's part of the reason why I was awake at 4 o'clock this morning, because my mind was going over and over. So yeah, cut to today. Actually, last night I made a lovely cauliflower cheese. Just throw that in there. Look, don't worry about me. I'm not on my knees and I'm not in a high state of stress through this now. I was yesterday afternoon, but not now, because I processed it. And the processing has enabled me to come up with the answer. Just say no. Thanks, but I won't be doing that. Yeah, that's it. So cut to today, woke up very early. Got up, made tea, emptied the dishwasher, put a wash on, which is about to finish, so I need to get onto that shortly. Yeah, did a few things and then did a little bit of social media surfing, looking at the news, and yeah, now as you can see it's light outside and it's time to really start my day, which will start with putting washing away, hanging out, the wet washing, and continuing doing some music, which I'm quite enjoying, and it's a really good way of taking my mind off everything else. Weather today is overcast. It looks bright, but it's really not. It's very grey. And there has been some rain, I think. So overcast, the grey blanket is back, but we've got mild temperatures, thank goodness. So the heating has gone off, but I can still feel the residual heat from the radiator, which is just underneath where you are. Yeah. I must remember to do this, actually. I've got it on the radiator cover, and it's much easier than holding it because it stays still. And you have a more enjoyable experience. Yeah. I'm going now because I'm waffling. It's been 12 minutes. I'll see you later. Bye for now. Good evening. It's Friday evening. What have I been up to? What have I been up to? Gosh, it's been a fairly full day. Okay, so I've been catching up with washing because we had a very, very full washing basket. And it's because I hadn't done bedding sort of prior to changing the bed last week. I hadn't washed the previous bedding because we've got several sets, so I don't have to wash, each set each week. But also our washing machine likes a full load. It really does like a full load. If you don't do a full load, it says unbalanced and starts trying to walk around the utility room and beat up the boiler, which we don't want. So I sort of save up. Rather than doing small loads, I save up loads. And of course, there are certain things that I don't do with regular washes. So for example, I've got some neon t-shirts. I don't put those in with lighter colours. I've got some darker towels that I don't put in with my white towels. So I usually sort the washing, and some things sort of have to wait, in the queue, in the washing basket queue. I know. So I've been catching up because I had a very large basket full of clothes, bedding, towels, things like bath mats as well. I don't wash those with regular washes because they're slightly rubberized, so they can't go on a warm wash. They've got to go on a 30-degree, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I've been catching up with that. So I've actually got 3 maidens full of washing, one in the utility room and 2 maidens upstairs with the fan on. So in between that, I've been doing music. I'm working on a track that is going fairly well. Not sure when you'll hear it because I need to mix it. But I've really been enjoying doing it. I've actually devoted quite a bit of time because I think I've said before, it is an eater of time. It really is. If you want the whole day to go in a flash, sit at the computer and make music because the whole day goes very quickly. It's very sedentary, so I have to sort of make sure I get up regularly and have a good move around, and you have to be very focused. And you're never guaranteed of a good result. That's the thing about making music on your own. It's quite hard to be objective about it. It's quite difficult. If you're in a band with other musicians, you can bounce ideas around, Of course, I do occasionally play stuff to Paul, but he's not a musician, so he wouldn't hear the things that I hear, like if a note clashes with another note and, maybe things aren't working as they should rhythm-wise, or, if something just doesn't have the right feel about it, somebody who doesn't work on music wouldn't maybe necessarily pick up on those things. So, I don't pick up on a lot of those things very often because I'm not really a musician, really. I can't read music. Well, I can a little bit, but, I'm just doing it really for pleasure and for relaxation and meditation. It's a meditative pursuit. It enables my mind to be taken away from other things. And very often, if I've got stuff on my mind, it's a good exercise to put in place. It's a good thing to do. And as you know, I've had a few things on my mind recently. So, yeah. So yeah, it's been mainly that. The weather has been horrible, totally overcast and grey and damp feeling. Not very pleasant at all. And it's getting colder again. So the temperature is plummeting, apparently. Great. Mind you, why did I ever think it was going to get warmer and stay warmer? We're still in winter. And we're going to be in winter for another couple of months, really. I'm hoping that we have a good spring, because I love spring. I really do. So I'm hoping for a really nice early spring that's warm. I'm remembering last summer and how poor it was and what a poor spring we had, a cold spring. Cold and then briefly warm and then cold again. And the UK, I tell you, weather-wise, It's just so unpredictable. It really is. Unpredictable and very often crap. Yeah. Right, so that's it for this week's vlogs. Thank you for watching and continuing to watch ours. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for your support. I'll see you for Sunday chat tomorrow evening. Bye for now.